Hello, lovers and friends. Welcome back to a delicious episode. This episode is one that is going to take you from a place of feeling confused AF to feeling empowered as fuck. Today, I have a beautiful visionary feminine leader in this space. I want to introduce you all to Giovanna. She is a visionary who has traded the Hollywood lights for healing and purpose. So you know I had to have her in this community. Giovanna had a journey where she came to her own personal reckoning and she birthed her own really creative, fun, spicy brand called Confused Girl in the City. It's an active wear brand that's inspired by crystals and courage. And she's got a juicy new book coming out called Confused Girl. And it's inviting you to find peace within the chaos and embrace confusion as your greatest teacher. Oh, yes, I want to know more about that. She's been driven by her determination. She has a beautiful innate sense of design. She's created an acclaimed brand, and she is noteworthy in publications like Forbes and NBC. She's definitely one to take note of and one to watch. She's got a dedicated following of over 400,000 community members on her Instagram. So make sure you go on and follow her too. Welcome, beautiful Giovanna, to the show, my love.
Oh my gosh, love it. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
My pleasure. I was excited to have you on the show. We had never met before. This is the first time we're meeting. And my team had sent me a note that you're a woman that I need to meet. They sent me over all of your beautiful documents and more of like your story. And I was like, all right, I love me some Sex in the City. But even more so, I love some real authenticity. And I thought your branding for a confused girl and confused girl in the city was just so on point for how so many women have been feeling in the modern world and the day. And I wanted to find out more about you and your journey, and especially the word confused, because I feel like confusion gets such a bad rap. But before we get into all the goodness, would you like to share with us a bit more about, what's been your journey like thus far, and what was the thing you needed to really reckon with that totally redirected you in a new path?
Well, it kind of all happened in, I would say, my late 20s, where I went through, I didn't know this now, but kind of like a Saturn returns. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Oh,
Which,
yes, girl.
okay. So I would say like quarter life crisis. And at this time, it's very common for people to fall into a depression or get married or get a divorce or have a career change or have children. It's just a big pivotal moment in your life. And for me, I fell into a depression. And
Mm,
I think I fell into a depression because I was ignoring myself for so many years.
mm,
And my life was really about what I was going to do next. It was always next, next, next. It was always trying to prove myself. It was trying to look good to other people, make other people happy, my family, look cool to my friends. And I spent my 20s working in the film industry, getting pretty high up to decide that this is not what I wanted. Then I thought maybe I'd take over my parents' business because my parents had an Italian restaurant up north in San Luis Obispo, California, because I'm in Los
yeah.
Angeles right now. So it's 3 hours north of here. And I was there for a year and a half and I was dating this really amazing guy, but I was like, is this really going to be my life? And it doesn't sound like a bad life. Like, and that was also a hard thing to reckon with because it's like, okay, you'll have a business, you'll be making money. You have this guy you'll probably marry, and he's, loyal to you and handsome and also makes good money. And then you'll have kids. But that wasn't in alignment with what I wasn't happy about it. I was freaked out by it. And so much so that I actually went to a hypnotist and I tried to like hypnotize myself into being in love with him and being in love with my
Mm,
and and
wow.
but even the hypnotist didn't work. Like even that couldn't do it. So I'm like, I just can't do this. And I left.
Did the hypnotist come by a referral? How did you find this hypnotist? Like, were you
I
like driving to Ojai from Slow? Like,
No,
where
it
did
wasn't slow. The hypnotist wasn't slow. I don't know if I found her. I forget now if I found her online or she was a referral from somebody else. I don't quite remember, but at this point, it was because it was like over a decade ago. But it was very interesting. And I felt like I wasn't in my body. I felt like I was going through the motions, but I wasn't really there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can't live like this anymore. So I come back to LA and then, I really break down because I'm just like, I have no idea who I am. I'm so unhappy. My mind is like on repeat of just all of my shortcomings and negative thoughts. And I'm like, whoa, I need to rebirth myself here. Like, I need to
Mhm.
reprogram everything. I need to like live life differently, think about life differently. And so I made that my main priority was my self-care because I knew I was not in a good place. And one of my goals was I want to feel good in my skin. I want to feel worthy just because I exist, not because I got a new boyfriend or because I got a new car or because I have a new career or I have a new accolade. No, no, no. I want to feel good just because I'm Giovanna existing in the world.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
Big
that
thing.
was
It's a big
kind
thing
of
that you're speaking to, right? It's like your beingness is enough versus the external validation or the external material factors to say now you're deemed worthy because you've got a boyfriend or you're married or you've got the corporate job or you're a Hollywood film executive, or you're now the model, right? All of these outside markers of success that society's been conditioned and like absolutely sold a hypnotist lie that's what happiness is.
100% exactly. That's exactly what it was. And it was really cool because, I kind of had the things that a lot of people like strived for. Like I had a nice car pretty young. I went to like a good university. I had a nice place to live. So it's like I have all these things, but yet I'm ungrateful. I don't feel gratitude for it. And it's also not getting me happiness. Like you think these things are going to get you happiness, but then when you have them, the happiness goes away pretty quickly. Like it's like instant gratification and then just kind of goes away. And then you go, okay, well, this is not getting me the life that I want. Like you think it will, but then it doesn't. And
Yeah.
so I really realized that this wasn't an external issue. This was an internal issue. And I need to fix the internal. I need to get this right. And then I can go and figure out what my next move is and what I want to do and all of that. So
What was the piece that was the catalyst for you as I'm listening to your story? Because I know that there are many different reasons, right? Like as I'm hearing you say, like, oh, I've got to reflect in, like, was there a defining moment when you got the things, which most people are like, I'm gonna get the thing, and then once we get the thing, the happiness may last for 5 minutes, it might last for a day, 3 days, 4 days, a few hours, and then that feeling is gone, because that's really what we're looking for, is the feeling. And was it just the consistent kind of pattern of noticing and tracking that it's not fulfilling me, I'm still feeling a void or empty or unhappy? Or was there something else that was like guiding you? Maybe it was a hypnotist to like actually look at what's going on within.
it definitely was not the hypnotist. Very good, actually. It was definitely me and just feeling like, okay, I have all these things, yet I'm not happy. And then even though I wasn't working in the film industry anymore, I got invited to the Sundance Film Festival with a friend of mine who still worked in film finance. And we're at this crazy party in Deer Valley on the top of this mountain. I mean, multi-million dollar mansion with like celebrities and studio executives. And it's just this awesome party. And I'm just like, it was such imposter syndrome. And it was such, and I'm like feeling like I was posing, like I shouldn't be there. And then I thought, or is anybody else feeling like this? And I'm like, this is just not in alignment with who I am. And I just went home or to my hotel room, and I just was like, I have to make a change. Like, I have to. And
Mm,
just that though, it was a culmination. It was building up. It was everything together.
yes. Yeah.
And I honestly feel lucky that I got this message in my late 20s and not in my 50s.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and that's when I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. And then I just started concentrating on, okay, how do we build a foundation of self-worth? Because if I have the self-worth, I can build off of that. If I don't have the self-worth and I have the career or the money, everything can crumble. That is not solid footing. But if I have the self-worth, then everything I build on top of that is gonna be more in alignment with who I really am. It's
Mm,
gonna feel better. And there's always still obstacles and life happens and stuff, but like I'm telling you, I've been through some things. And if I didn't have that foundation of self-worth, I don't know what I would have done, honestly.
yeah. I mean, there's a variety of different things, right? Science shows you could go back into a depression downward spiral. You could attempt, suicide. 460% of people who've experienced, deep states of depression, who've gone through things, are likely to go back and stay and live in a depressive state, right? Or worse, or worse. So it's
Yeah.
amazing that you had the awareness, even the self-awareness is what I'm really hearing is, it sounds like there was already a bit of a connection to yourself, which is a gift to be
Mhm.
able to even know what's happening and have even that connection and that association to yourself, let alone then decide to build upon the foundation of of self-worth. It sounds like you had some self-awareness there that then kind of took you up to at least building the self-worth. And is that accurate? Did you have any self-aware? It sounds like you had self-awareness.
I think I definitely I'm an old soul. I know that. And this isn't my first rodeo. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
and even with people, I'm good at sniffing things out maybe that people don't see. And then, I get into trouble because I'll say, oh, that person's, like this, or they're, like a con artist. And then people get mad at me. And then 2 years later, you figured out they like stole money from people. So I'm really good at sniffing things out, which kind of can backfire on me. Sometimes I just need to close my mouth, which is hard for me.
Yeah. I know that feeling. I've been there. Like, I better have not have said anything at all and let people figure that out for themselves.
Right, right. So, yeah, it's very so yeah, I'm lucky with that. I definitely do have that self-awareness, and that was also the reason that I wanted to write this book, and I didn't write it right after I got out of this. The whole journey of the book was 7 years, and it was maybe like 4 or 5 years after I got out of the depression that I even started to write the book.
Before we go even into the book component, I'd like to know what were some of the steps you took in regards of changing the trajectory of, your life? Because, we have these Saturn returns and we've, a similar story, which is why I was like, oh, I'd like to bring her on the show. It's like similar story with my Saturn return. I was working with Cindy Crawford at the time, doing product design and development. So definitely in the entertainment world, limo rides, popping bottle, all the designer clothes, all the things on the outside that's
Yeah,
supposed to be what you
looks
want,
great. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Looks
yes.
great. I feel great. But girls disconnected from myself, girls actually like looking for love at the bottom of a shot glass, like going to clubs thinking I'm going to find self-worth and find love, going out because I just didn't have that connection to myself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like, again, my Saturn return came in where it was, oh, girl, this is not working. And so mine's a bit different because I had guides, these Indian sage guys that would like teachers find me on the street when I would like leave depressed on my lunch break, like somber as fuck, walking down the streets of Studio City, being like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? And then these like men in all orange would like find me, thank you, God, angels. I don't know how, but they would find me at the right time and then would sit with me and would like channel what they're seeing me do of like writing a book and doing this and teaching people and having a podcast. And I was like, no fucking way. Different than a hypnosis, than a hypnosis. But
Yeah.
similarly, right? I was like, wow, there's some really interesting parallels to your story and my story. And for me, it was more of like a really powerful health challenge that became a catalyst where it was like, no fucking way am I going to be in a toxic relationship anymore. No fucking way can I entertain eating shitty or drinking or bad food if my life is on the line to get healthy.
Yeah.
Right. For me, that was like the real big turning point where it was like, I got to really take the wheel and actually turn at the same time. So I was curious, like, and my audience knows more about that about me. So I don't need to go so much deeper, into it. A little bit, so like, I got you, girl. Like, it's very similar. And that's why I asked the question was like, I'm curious for you, what did you start to do to make those shifts when you realize you have a perfect plan laid out, your family business and the man and a life and a home, which society says you should be good with that, but your
Yeah.
soul knew it would be soul sucking and draining and so not you if you did that. And like, it's a really courageous thing to make the steps and actually do that. And so I just want to kind of honor your story a little bit more and the dignity of what your process was.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think for that, I just think I have this like little warrior inside of me that was just like, no, we're not doing that. And I just like cannot not listen to her because she's so strong. So, because the scared girl in me was like clinging on to that life, but the little warrior in me is like, we're not doing this. And then, so get out of after I realized all of this and to get out of my depression, I was like, I kind of accepted where I was. And then I stopped caring what people thought because I was just kind of like, screw it. I'm confused. I feel awful. This is what it is. I don't care anymore. Like if somebody thinks I'm a loser or whatever, I don't care anymore. I just don't. And then it was like, there's no other way to go now. The only way to go now
Mm,
is to figure myself out and try to make myself, better. Cause the other way, it wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I have to go in this direction. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me watch some YouTube videos about this. Let me, read some books and so I kind of started to do that. Then because I've always been an avid workout girl. And I had a roommate and she's like, you should come to yoga with me. I think you'll really like it. And this is, 12 years ago. And so yoga wasn't as mainstream as it is now. And so I went to a,
yeah.
yeah, it's so crazy how in a decade so much can change, but it does. And so I went to a yoga class with her and my negative thinking while I was doing yoga just stopped. And then
Mm.
after yoga, I had a break from my negative thinking. And I was like, wow, okay, if this is giving me a break, then I need to do this all the time. And that is one thing about me. I'm very disciplined. So I'm very good at going, okay, this is working. I'm going to go with it. I'm very pragmatic like that. So I was like, this is working. Okay, I'm going to start doing yoga. So
Mm.
it's a combination of all these things. And then I'm like, well, where is this negative thinking coming from? And it was because it's not like I killed somebody. It's just not like even in high school, how like kids steal and stuff like that. I never did anything like that. Like I worked at my parents' restaurant and with my tip money, I'd go and buy stuff at Express. That was the store in
Oh
town.
my God, Express, yeah, and
Oh yeah,
Contempo.
Express
Yes,
was
Contempo.
and so it's like I want, it's like I was raised Catholic and I'm like, okay, don't do bad things, be good to people kind of thing. So I'm like, what is this shame and this guilt and all of this?
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I feel like it was generational almost.
Mm.
And I realized that, and then I realized that a lot of it's just kind of being a woman and feeling like you're never, doing enough and you're not good enough and you're not pretty enough and you're not successful enough and your body is not good enough and this, and it was like, wow, I got to start letting this go because this is weighing on me. And so I
Mm.
started, and I write about all this stuff about how I was able to like let this go and release this. And then I started doing things like, a gratitude journal, which everybody talks about, but it really does work because when your mind is focused on gratitude, even when you don't feel grateful, it can't be focused on lack. And a lot of our pain comes from lack. It comes from, I think I should have this and I don't have it. I should have the man, I don't have the man. I should have the job, I don't have the job. I should have the money, I don't have the money. And then we make ourselves feel bad. Or I should be skinny and I'm not skinny, or whatever it is. And so we're constantly thinking about what we don't have. Why not think about what we do have and
Mm,
celebrate? And then if there's something you want, make it a goal, take some practical steps to get there. But let's not make ourselves feel bad that we don't have it. And now I actually get excited about not having something because I'm like, ooh, something to work towards.
mm.
Once you have something, you have it, you did it. But it's almost like the working towards something and just it's like, okay, it gives you life. It gives you like a joy to go toward that.
I
So,
love that. I think that's a really beautiful place to kind of pull a thread as well. What you're saying is, I love what you mentioned in the story too, of like you were confused and you took radical fucking action because you didn't know what to do anymore, right? And you didn't care, and you're just like, I'm gonna just do it, right? And I love one of my teachers, you all probably know Tony Robbins, one of my teachers, and it's like his whole thing is confusion, right? Like confusion is a great thing because confusion means you're going to learn something new and you're about to have a breakthrough. So even that philosophy in your story, you're actually like highlighting that principle of like confusion is a great thing because you're about to do something different and you're about to have a breakthrough. So I love that piece that you're mentioning in there, about that and about doing something, different and changing, your whole life up and then discovering, more and more about the gratitude. And I find that gratitude, yeah, like you said, is so powerful, especially in today's modern world where people are so entitled and ungrateful. And I think you're right. Like I would say lack is one of the biggest things. I would also say that one of the biggest things is also judgment, especially as women, because we are hyper judgmental also about ourselves. We're the ones that are nitpicky, right? And we're the ones too, like with let's say we're writing a book, or right now I'm working on my TED Talk. It's like with the TED Talk or with my book or with our clothes or with our body or our presentation, men don't think, am I qualified enough to go for this job? They go for the fucking job. But women are like in the mirror, hyping up our friends, doing our effort. Am I good enough? I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I'm good enough. And then we'll go and present, and still a part may be like, did I crush it enough? Was I powerful? And did I do enough to get that? And I feel like for women, especially, like really working with the lack, but also the judgment that we have, the constant mental judge inside of us that's like fucking hammering away like crazy. You can call it the inner critic, I call it the judge. It's, she's such a fucking bitch at times, and she's sneaky at times. And, of course, she's guiding us to be better. But to your point, it can be to a detriment where we're never actually, like you said earlier, like just feeling good and enjoying being who you are now. Even if you're in a fucking mess, or if you're confused and you don't know what's going on, right? Or you're successful and there's always more, but like, how can I not judge my now moment and be really grateful for where I am, right now, and, accepting where I am right now, accepting all the juice, that's here. And I think that's always so powerful. And, it's a gift when we get to work towards something and not just feel so entitled, like we need to have it, right away. Like there definitely is, like when the muse comes to visit you, it's a fucking blessing, because otherwise everything's normal. You got your social media, or you got your writing, or you got your normal every day. But it's not always when you feel like the muse has shown up and she's fucking serving it, and she's like, you're so driven and you're waking up to write the story in the book. It's like, that is such a beautiful moment, that we don't always get often in our lives.
no, that's so true. It's so funny because just the other day, I didn't even feel like I had much energy. And I had been working all day, which, you're sitting and you're working. So I was like, I'm going to go on a walk by the beach. I just need to get out. And it was a very windy day. The sun was out, but it was very windy on the beach. And I'm just like walking. And I even go and walk on because we have like a sidewalk on the beach, like a little boardwalk.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to go walk on the sand, burn extra calories. And so I'm walking on the sand. And then I just got this like inspiration to jot down my thoughts about a second book, and literally ended up working on it until midnight that night. I got so jazzed. I got so jazzed up. I was calling my mom at 11 p.m. I'm like, Mom, oh my God, my second book's going to be called this, and this is what it's going to be about. Okay, listen to my treatment. Listen. I ended up like writing almost a whole treatment for it. And it was like, I was so jazzed up, and I'm like, this is the best feeling ever. Like, to me now, that feeling's better than before. It was like, when you like somebody and they like you, and a romantic feeling was like the best feeling. But now I'm like, no, this is so cool. I get so excited about this process. And right now it's like, because my book's coming out May 13th in a little bit. So I've been doing a lot of like marketing stuff, and I'm like so tired of doing the marketing stuff. I'm like, I just want to go away again and write my second book. That's all I want to do now. Like, I'm done now with, marketing stuff. I just want to, because it really is the best feeling ever. And it's not easy necessarily to tap into your creativity. I actually had denied my creativity for so long. So that's one of the things that I write a whole chapter about creativity and unleashing your creative goddess, because I think we put creativity in a box of, oh, can you draw? Can you write? Can you act? Can you sing? And there's just certain like labels on it. But we're actually all very creative beings. I mean, the way we talk, like, there's nobody else on this planet with our voice. There's nobody
Mm,
on this planet that looks exactly like us. There's nobody else on this planet that even walks like us or has exactly our same body shape and stuff. So we are, in essence, a unique creative masterpiece.
mm,
And once you start to like see that and understand that, and then go, okay, dive into your creativity. Like, for me, my creativity wasn't obvious to me because I wasn't particularly, I'm not a good drawer. I didn't think I was that I thought I was an okay writer, but apparently I'm a very good writer because I'm publishing a book. Um, my book got published. But it's like I couldn't like pinpoint it, but I wanted to activate my creativity because I was way too much in the left brain, way too much trying to multitask and do a billion things. And so what I did was I actually painted a wall in my room, black chalkboard paint, and then I would write quotes on it. And it's crazy, but that opened up something in me. Just listening
mm,
to music and painting my wall black chalkboard paint and then writing on it, like, opened up something in my brain. And then I think it was like a week or two later, I came up with the idea to start a video blog called Confused Girl in the City. Because after I got out of my depression, I was like, okay, but I'm still confused. Like, I'm still confused about what I like, what I don't like, what I want to do on this planet. So I started this blog and I said, okay, every week I'm going to do something new that I've never done before in an attempt to figure out who I am and why I'm here.
mm.
It was so cool because every week I was doing different things. Like, I did the flying trapeze in Santa Monica. I I went bungee jumping. That was, I did not like it. I won't do it again, but it was really like, it gave me a lot of courage. It definitely served its purpose. But I just did new things, and I started to build up my confidence. Like, that's a
Mm,
total confidence builder. And
yeah.
and then even that was creative. What am I going to do this week? And then doing my video blog and talking about it. And then it's like one thing just led to the next thing. I love this quote. It says, it's a mistake to look too far into the future because the chain of destiny is grasped one link at a time.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I love that one because so much can happen. And that's why I think it's good to have a goal, and you can take the steps to get there. but don't think you have it all planned out or it needs to go exactly this way because you're setting yourself up for failure. You have to have flexibility within the goal reaching process for it to become what it's destined to become.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love the idea of like the links, right? And each of the links are creating your destiny in the moment. Like there's so much like power in that versus feeling like, you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants and it's just you're fulfilling your destiny. It's like it's a very I love it. It's very peak performer based, like hands-on, kind of a like grab it by the bull way, which I do believe it's both, right? I believe that there are some things that are like predetermined in the sense of like being who your experiences that we have that can help us share, empower other people. Like I feel like a part of our soul chooses to reincarnate, like you said, we all have a different body, different place, but we also have our own unique soul's energy signature, right? We all
Mhm.
have our own unique Akashic records. We all have our own soul's blueprint. And then it's like, we all come in to incarnate with a deeper purpose, but that purpose isn't revealed to us. But I do believe that there are some predestined agreements on a soul contract level that we've made to come in and to experience so that we can be in more of our potential, but so we can do our humanity work and like be our contribution to, to the planet with the unique experiences that we have. So I love the idea of like the link. And I kind of have an analogy where it's also like I'm like there's also like these hands like always kind of around, like, lifting me to the next kind of position along as I like, like the trapeze. It's like something's lifting me to make sure I can like get that fucking next trapeze
Yes,
link.
yes, no, exactly, exactly. And I love what you just said because I do believe that we all come in here like our like little warriors and we're all on our little warrior paths and our paths like cross and all this stuff, but it's like a mistake to look at somebody else and compare your life with their life, whether it be
Mhm.
comparing your life with their life and making yourself a victim, whether it be comparing your life with somebody else's and feeling better than them. However, way it is, it's like you are a unique being. You came into this body, this color, this family, this country for a purpose. And I actually I write a whole chapter about comparisons and how dangerous
Mm.
it is to compare yourself to other people. And I actually talk about this girl when I was in college who I was so envious of because, I just thought she was so beautiful and fabulous and popular and had, the hottest boyfriend, all the things, right?
Yeah.
And then I found out in a very strange way through somebody else's post that she had died.
Oh my gosh.
And at,
Yeah.
no, at like I think late 20s or early 30s, right? And I was like, "Oh my gosh, and then I felt so awful because I was so jealous of this girl. And then look, she had a battle with cancer and died very young. So
Wow.
I'm happy she was amazing in college and, had all the things. Like I hope it was great for her. Like and it's just and I'm here. And so it's like you don't know what's gonna happen with your life or with somebody else's. Somebody else
Yeah.
might be here, you might be down here, and then it could switch. So just concentrate on your own lane. Stay in your own lane. Learn from other people. Like I was envious of my friend who was solo traveling. So I was like, you know what? This is telling me that I think I want to solo travel. I'm scared, but I want to do this. So let me sit down with her and ask her questions. And I said, I want to solo travel, kind of like you do. Do you ever get lonely? Have you ever been in a dangerous situation? And we talked about all the things. And then after that, I did my first solo trip. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
so it's like, there's a good way to use comparisons. And when you're envious about something, it can signal to you what you desire and you can use it as a tool. But then, boom, back on your own lane, back on your own lane.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this thing really of like getting out of like the framework of feminine competition and the comparison. We talked about a little bit of the judgment earlier.
Yes.
And what even comes to me is like, for the comparison, I have a group of women, like powerful, sexy, like these women are some of the most sexiest women on the fucking planet. And we are all like amplifying each other, and we like sunbathe naked together when we're in the same area together, and we muse together and we celebrate each other. And it's like, I always been so envious of those girls when I was younger because I always felt like the
Yeah.
ugly. But then once I got into a group with friends, when I was like, oh shit, I'm in this group too, obviously, which means I'm also hot as fuck, right? And
Yes.
it's like it's an
Oh,
right? It's like it's an identity shift. And like what I see is like the beauty of when we can switch the comparison for the appreciation and see them as a mirror, which is what you were saying a bit earlier, right? Is like you were like, envious that she was traveling over the world, but then you talk to her and like you learned that you weren't going to be as scared and you could do it too. It's like the mirror that comes from the world, but especially with the feminine, with sisterhood, with other women, really amplifies and accelerates our confidence, our self-esteem, our like audacity to like be that girl who can do whatever she wants. This is at least what I believe and what I've experienced by being around really smart, powerful women. And it's also like, it could be so easy to be like, oh, she's got that and she's got that. Or like one of them now just hit this TV show. And it's like, good for you, girl. Yes.
yeah.
Right. Like, because the reality from a spiritual perspective is it's oneness. We are all one. So if in any way I'm like seeing you, Giovanna, and I'm like, oh wow, you've got like a New York Times bestseller and you've got this, and I'm looking at you in any way that's like shade or envy, or I'm being like, judging or whatever, then I'm literally doing that to myself because you are me. And there's no way I could ever be inspired and become that version of me that's doing the things you're doing if I judge that woman for doing the things that I would hope to inspire. Right. It's like
Yes.
I could never be an influencing person on, TV shows if I'm judging the woman who's doing it. Like I could
Yeah.
not be that. Fundamentally, my conscious and subconscious mind wouldn't allow me to. It would keep me small in that box. So, for the people who are listening, like what we're saying here is such a radical and revolutionary way to look at other women who are doing the damn thing and who are putting in work and effort. And instead of like judging, really appreciate and like literally be like, great fucking job, girl. Because if you're celebrating her, you're celebrating, and giving yourself permission to be her.
Exactly. And I actually I write about this, the Hawaiian Huna blessing. And so you bless that which you desire. So you see somebody with a car you might want, and you're like, no, bless that car and bless the person that owns it. You see that house, that your dream house, bless that house, bless the family that lives in it. You see
Mm.
that girl on TV, you bless her and you bless that station, or that show. It's like, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a perfect person. I am not evolved so much to where I don't like, there are moments with when I really want something and somebody else has it. It'll like, and I see somebody doing maybe what I want to be doing or have what I want to have, I'll feel a little cringy inside. And I will be like, oh, why don't I have that? And get a little, like pity party and jealous, but then I go, Hawaii Huna blessing, bless her and bless that, or bless him, bless that, you know what I mean? And I switch it. I recognize it and I'm like, no, 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 we're not gonna do this because you know what? This puts us in lack.
Mm.
And I really do want everybody to do well and succeed. That's why I wrote this book. You know,
Yes.
that's the purpose. But we're human and we're confused, so we can slip up, and that's okay. So It's all about having the tools so then you can like go, no, 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 no. And the more you do that, you program yourself to keep doing that.
Yes. Yes. Amen, girl. Yes to that. Yes to that. I love it. All the things you're putting in the book. I'm curious, what girl were you thinking of particularly when you began creating the content? Was it for the version of you in this book, for the version of you years ago, or was it for some of the women that you've helped and supported, that you've heard some of their direct challenges? Is there a type of woman in mind where you're like, this is the woman that better read this book? Like, right? If you know a girlfriend, if you know a sister, you have a wife, like, of course, every woman could, right? But for you, when you're thinking of like that girl that could really transform.
It,
Who?
it was definitely me
Yeah.
when I was going through my depression. I thought what book I needed, like what I would need to hear, what I would need to know, and also a big part of it's like feeling like I'm not alone. And that's why I also call myself confused girl, is because it's to take the shame out of being confused. And then people go, "Oh my gosh, but I think that you know a lot and you're pretty wise. I don't think you're confused at all." And I said, "Well, I do have wisdom now, and I'm not confused about what I was confused about then, but I'm always going to be confused about something different. And I'm cool with that because that means I'm constantly in a state of curiosity and discovery. And my life is going to be very interesting because I'm open to things and open to understanding. And I'm not closed and going, I know everything." So I rather live my life in a more state of learning than I know everything. And so
Mhm.
I would have liked to have read a book called Confused Girl. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one. She was messed up too, like, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And I so feel that. And it sounds like too, there's a really great recipe in the book for those that can go back to it, like a timeless book that they can kind of rinse and repeat some of the formulas and the methods. What was the name of the Hawaiian blessing you say? Because I know Ho'oponopono, which is like the self-forgiveness, like I
yes,
forgive
and I
myself.
actually talk about that too. But this is called the Huna,
Huna, okay.
Hawaiian Huna blessing. Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll have to look that one up. I know it, but I didn't know where it actually came from. It's like, bless you, bless that. But now I know. Okay. I love
Yeah.
that.
There's just so many beautiful things we can pick up from different cultures, different religions, different things.
Yeah.
It's like just utilize the wisdom and the knowledge.
Yeah. And I loved what you really said too, as well, for, everyone who's, listening. It's like, notice even just the connection that we're having. Like we said, like we've met this is the first time we're ever meeting, right?
Yeah.
And we are laughing, we're vibing, we're being real, we're being honest with each other. It's like, I'm you, you're me. Like we're literally highlighting all of these like spiritual teachings and philosophies in real time, y'all who are listening to this, right?
Yeah.
Like the mirroring that's happening, the supporting, the blessing. Like I just love to also kind of highlight that because it's so cool when, things align like that, when, it's not planned. We didn't know all these pieces, right? And I love that because it makes it be in such deeper appreciation of how much this work really does work, when you work on it, and how you attract so many people around you where you don't feel like you're alone, right? And people get you and understand, and you can grow, together in a community, which is fucking awesome. It makes it so delicious.
Yeah, no, there's have you heard of the bonobo monkeys?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so actually it was was she a neuroscientist? Yeah, I met her. She was from Holland, and I met her on a boat in the Greek islands, like the sailboat
Oh
trip.
my gosh.
She was traveling solo and I was traveling solo, and she told me about the tribe
Because
of
you traveled solo, because you chose to travel
yes.
solo.
Yes. And she said that, they're the female bonobos. I mean, they totally take care of each other. They fight off aggressive men. They actually are the dominant ones. Like the men are more subservient. They're like the more dominant ones. And but they really band together and help each other out.
Oh, I love that.
So
That I did not know about them.
Oh yeah. So no, there and so I actually I took what she told me and then I met her and everything. So and I actually put it in the book and talked about like what women are capable of. Because look at
Mm.
the bonobo tribe of monkeys.
Yeah, we're just less hairy, you know, a little bit less hairy.
Exactly. Hey, we're still animals. We're still very
Yeah,
primitive, you
we're
know.
still very primal and very, very primitive, girl. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to hear because obviously there's so many great gems in, in the book. And I know you're doing like a special giveaway. We're talking about community and we're talking about like not being alone. Share with us what you have going on with this piece because it sounds again like what a special opportunity to, be with another woman and in a community that feels like you're not alone.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm running a giveaway for the launch of my book. And if you pre-order the book in any format, you'll enter to win a 2-night stay in Maui in an oceanfront room. I know the balloons are like,
It's like, wow. Like, yes, girl.
and $100 gift card to my store.
Amazing. So all they have to do is pre-order it and we can put the link. The link is actually here in for listening to the podcast or on YouTube. Go and look
Yeah.
at the show notes. It's in there. And what's the deadline by the time they have to submit it? Is it up until the book is released?
May 13th. So the
Big.
book's released May 13th. So you can even buy it on May 13th. But just then
Great.
after May 13th, the giveaway will end.
Amazing. So that's a way to like again feel so taken care of and be able to go and be in the energy.
Oh
Like
my gosh. And
getaway.
this resort, it's called Napili Kai Resort. It's near Lahaina and it is the most incredible hotel in Maui. And I'll tell you why. Because it was built back in the day, you're right on the water. So
Mm,
literally from the room, you can leave the door open and you'll go to sleep just listening to the waves. And that to me is like worth all the money in the world. That to me is just so peaceful. Now the newer hotels like the Ritz-Carlton and stuff,
yeah.
they're built so far away from the water because of permitting and all that kind of stuff. They're built so far away that you can't go to, even if your room is like $5,000 a night, you can't hear the water while you're sleeping. So these
Yeah.
rooms are like right on the water. They're huge rooms with an amazing balcony outside. You can even actually, I took my friend and she slept outside on the balcony.
Oh my God.
The like
She loved.
on the like the
Yeah.
sun chair, yeah, bed.
Yeah.
And she just slept there. And I mean, I slept inside in the bed with the door open so I could hear the waves. But she's like, oh, I'm committing, you know? So she
Yeah.
so she went outside and also they have an amazing breakfast. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Their breakfast, and then it's right on the beach. They have a gorgeous beach. It's just amazing. You can
It's
paddleboard,
a
you can
vibe.
snorkel.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's such a vibe. I love that. We have where we live here in Puerto Rico, we have where if I open my window, I can hear the ocean and see it. It's literally right outside the door. It makes a world of a difference. And I know with my journey, I have to be by the water. And you're obviously by the water as well, which is great. And
Same
what
way.
an
Yeah,
amazing opportunity.
I'm the same as you. I don't have to be by the water. Like I can live in places where I'm not
Yeah,
close,
I mean, I can, but do I
but
choose?
I prefer to be by the water.
Yeah, if we can have it any way we want, that's what I would want, and clearly that's what you want too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like so oceany. I would love before we wrap, this has been so fun, by the way. This is great. I'm so happy that we got to meet and just like what a fun, cool experience of mirroring that I haven't had on the podcast. like this actually in like all of my seasons. So this is really cool. I love this. I'm loving this conversation
Fun.
of the
I'm
mirror.
so touched. Thank you. I am so
Yeah.
touched. No, I feel this way, I feel like you're very intuitive and I'm very intuitive, so we can almost kind of say things that the other one might be going through or thinking. Yeah, it's a
We're on
vibe.
the same, yeah, same kind of vibe frequency. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
a great vibe. And I know one of the key things for your book, right, is around being able to find peace in the chaos. I mean, it's the chaos, right? And let's say if you're in a state of confusion. So what would be a tool or a word of wisdom specifically for the listener out there if they're having their own confused girl moment and they're like, fuck girl, I don't know what to do. I'm confused. This shit is soul sucking. I don't know what's happening, and maybe they can't leave the situation in that second, but how could they find more peace within that moment of chaos, whether it's internal or external chaos? What would be a tool or one of your gems, your pearls of wisdom that you would love to share with them?
Well, we're not going to be here that long. Like, I think that's always a really good thing to keep in mind, even though it might be, I don't know, sad to some. It's not to me. But, life is really short. And what you're going through is really, it will pass. Even like your hardest moments, it will pass. I know, like Eckhart Tolle says, this too shall pass. But I mean, he says that for a reason because it will. And life is really short. When I lost my father a couple years ago, and just the things I was thinking about, all the things that he worried about and he was stressed over, and I'm like, he couldn't take any of it with him. And you never know when your last day is. So within the day, within life, there's always something to appreciate, whether it's like taking in a beautiful, like deep breath,
Mm,
say like even just like stopping, putting your hand on your heart, like saying a little prayer, just telling yourself that you love yourself, thinking about, like, for me, I get little joys in my day, like making a cappuccino in the morning makes me really happy. So I just think it's just keeping it in perspective that your life will pass too. This too shall pass. Your life will pass. So keep it in perspective and try to concentrate on like the good thing.
mm, yeah. Yeah, really good, really great reminder. I didn't know about your dad. I'm sorry to hear about that. And like, that's always a tough time to navigate when a parent, leaves. And it can only be shared. The wisdom that you shared is because you went through what you went through, right? So it's not just a slogan on a t-shirt that says this too shall pass, right? This is from a woman who's got
Yeah.
a lot of shit, but also has gone through something that was really challenging, right? And that's beautiful to hear you with that affirmation and that mantra of this too shall pass. And just, I love what you said, simply even just saying that and feeling into that. And the only thing we take with us when we leave is the same spirit that we came in, that we didn't bring when we were born on the planet. So really
Yeah.
powerful, good reminder. Really, really good reminder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Well, where can everyone find you and join your community?
So you can go to my website, confusedgirlinthecity.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at confusedgirlla. And then even on my website, you'll see the giveaway link, the book's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble online. And yeah, and follow me on Instagram, say hi. I always love to chat to new followers.
Yay, good. I will make sure to put all those in the links. And it's good to know that you also manage your social media. It's great to know that someone who has such a following is like, look, again, embodies like you're not alone. I'm actually there, and that's really, really cool. So check her out. I love everything that you're doing. Congratulations on getting, into Barnes and Nobles and the giveaway you're doing and the journey you're on and coming out the other side, girl. Like, just really, really beautiful work you're doing. And just thank you for sharing your journey with us as well. And the wisdom that you've learned all along the way from healing your wounds.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, until next time.
Till next time. Mwah.
Mwah.